Good day sanibonani ninjani. My name is Umpumelelo Kamshengo Shabalala Uchakude ngalamavuso mavuso amhlophe ofisela nakuba kuyena. So on today's episode, I just want to speak about challenges of living abroad and also working in China. So these challenges are mostly what we don't see on social media, things that we don't post on social media. These challenges are just something most people tend to keep within themselves, and they don't show the other side of the luxury life that people live and work and show and express while living abroad. So this is just a video to try and maybe give you, I don't know, maybe an orange light. Ukuthi, there are some challenges prior to actually the green life this side. So some of the challenges is firstly when it comes to dating. When it comes to dating, it's very harder to date in a foreign country, especially also here in China, because the reasons are we are very scattered as Africans, and so ukjola, it means you have to travel from one city to another, which is mostly like sometimes you have to travel from Cape Town to Durban in distance. When we talk about the Chinese distance and so on, just to go and see someone, just to go and have a date with someone. And sometimes people abaseduze they end up hooking up, not necessarily because mhlambe motivation yothando, but there are needs that need to be fulfilled, and as a result, that is not part of the foundation of love or the relationship per se. So those are just some of the challenges. And also, if you are in a long distance relationship, it's very difficult to ubekezele the whole setup of dating someone in another continent. For instance, when I first came here in China for the first 2 years, I was alone in a way, and I was dating someone who was back at home. So it was a challenge per se. Ukuthi, I had more free time. It was either I go to work, come back in uni, and I had nothing to do. And of course, I came Lana during a lockdown, like the whole COVID thing. That's when I came like China, and most of the time I was free. Even when we were working indoors, working online, I was kind of free most of the time, and I would demand a lot of attention and stuff. Whereas in South Africa at that time, it was still much open. Abantu were busy going out work, yabo, until nakhona later on things happened kwaba nama-lockdown. But some of the challenges ukuthi China is also 6 hours ahead. So the time go 12 emini like China, in South Africa it's still in the morning. Yabo, it's 6 a.m. in the morning. The time go 12 lana ebusuku South Africa kusawu 6. So you see the challenges ukuthi sometimes you are at work here in China, umuntu wakho ulele in South Africa, uma uvuka wena yena emaye emsebenzini. So when it comes to communication, that is another challenge when it comes to the dating space. And also, just to touch on some of the dating issues around go South Korea. You know, South Korea, they love dating the US Army people who have a base there. And it's never really good stories to tell because it's always end in tears, or it's mostly of an entanglement situation. So the dating space when it comes to working abroad is always set up in a not so positive way in terms of building a family, in terms of building love, having a secure relationship. So when it comes to those things, that's one of the major challenges. And inhliziyo uma ingekho at peace, ingajabula awubi nayo peace now. You can enjoy the money, you can have all the money, but that love from another partner is just vacant at the space at a specific time. So at number two, it's also loneliness. Living abroad or even studying abroad can be very lonely. For instance, people, when you come here in China, you're gonna land at the airport. People don't know English, obviously, so you can't communicate with anyone, even when you need help, and things like even ordering online, maybe the Uber or the, yeah, let me just say Uber Eats, so you'll understand back at home. Ukuthi when they have to deliver ukudla, they get lost and you have to like give them the right direction to your apartment. It's always a challenge because you don't know Chinese. You don't even know what's wrong with phone team regarding your food. So you end up frustrated. Sometimes you don't get ukudla kwakho, kumele uze ulokhu translator you're trying to sort out the things online, and it takes a lot of time. So those are just some of the challenges. And also even ordering online. Sometimes uzothi order itafula laseDaning kanti order itafula elincane toys because you couldn't read the instructions in Chinese. Uh, so those are just some of the challenges that can really frustrate you and nokuba lonely in a way that sometimes you're going to be isolated in the city. There are not other South Africans nearby. And by the way, South Africans only meet once in a while. Bayahamba mhlawumbe beyodlala ibhola once a month. Bayahamba, decide to go clubbing maybe once a month if there's a special event. If there's a rugby game, there's a cricket game, a soccer game that is big. Only then they would go out and decide to meet somewhere, or if kuzoba a holiday. So it's things that happen once in a while, and sometimes more Hlala in a city that's quite different from where most South Africans are living. For instance, some South Africans are money, you're gonna find them in Jiangsu province, and you're gonna find them specifically in Shanghai, Kosujo, and some in Nanjing. But when they host these big parties or these gather ups, they're gonna put the location in either Osujo or in Shanghai, and also go Beijing, Kanjalo, where you find a lot of foreigners in that area. So if you live very far from those areas, you're mostly gonna be lonely for most of the time while you are working or you're studying here in China. And then the weather. Remember when I came here the first time, it was November. I just left Johannesburg. I was wearing sweatpants, golf tee, and just a light jacket when I came down. I remember landing at Hong Kong. It was cold, cold in a way I couldn't explain because it was like the sun is there, and I landed in the morning. The sun was there, but I was feeling cold in a way. And then obviously I took the final flight, landed in Shanghai, and the sun was out there. I came like around 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and in Abuga the sun was out there, but then it was cold in a way. Even when I go to the hotel in fully aircon, she sees that to the fullest, it was still cold in a way you couldn't explain. Also, when your bones are like freezing, but you're still walking and you're alive. That's how cold it is, and that's the shock you get when you get here in China because you are not used to e-weather enjalo back in South Africa. So e-weather land, I remember for the first few months I came since Dubai winter. I literally spent the whole winter indoors, going to work, coming back inside, vule aircon, wear two jackets, ugqoka morning shoes, stay indoors for like 4 or 5 months. Kwaba ne-lockdown on top of that, so it can really frustrate you whether you're because even when people say, "Oh, we're going to Esujo the following weekend," uyayivula lapho ubuka imap i-weather lapha and they be like, "Oh, it's gonna be -2 degrees, it's gonna be 3 degrees on the weekend." Obviously, I'm not gonna go out to cool 3 degrees, yabo. So those are just some of the challenges when it comes to the weather, and the weather can restrict you a lot, Lan. One of the reasons why I also love maybe living in Jiangsu province, it's because I believe it's like the China, it's like the Durban of South Africa, but yeah, boy, get what I'm saying? Durban is always hot, it's always very sunny, even in winter. So also China when it comes to Jiangsu, there's hardly any snow. Whereas you compare to the northern province like Beijing and so on, Beijing they got snow like hell, and when it's winter time or Inner Mongolia, those places in those regions they're very freaking cold. So I really prefer Jiangsu or even going down up to go Shenzhen or Guangzhou. Those places are much more warmer when it comes to the weather side. You don't get really a lot of snow compared to living up north in Nago, Beijing, and so on. So those are just some of the things and the challenges you might face. And also, if you are looking for a place to work, do consider these places if you don't like the weather that is very cold. When it comes to the language, I've spoken about the language in which you travel to the airport, you can't talk, you can't communicate. Loco, as a result, it makes you live in a closed box. You don't really feel like even attempting to greet and so on. And also another thing, these people don't greet. It's like you could even nod your head out of respect. Ubona umuntu omdala, they will just stare at you. Uyambona nje uziba nokuthi uyambingelela ugcine ubona nawe ukuthi hayi kushuthi ayikho le nto le angivele ngiyithulele nami. So when it comes to the language and the whole cultural thing, it can really be a challenging issue here. So you have to be prepared ukuthi wazi ukuthi uyaphi and uzofica abantu abanjani. abakhuluma kanjani nesethaphe kanjani. And also the last part is food. Food is very important, guys. My name used to be Ustixi. I came here. I ended up being Ukhulubuse. Khulubuse Nyamaza, I'm sure. The Zuma guy or Ukhulupel Umkhulu. So when I came here and I kind of relied a lot on fast foods because when it comes to things like spicy, when it comes to things like curry and so on, you don't get these things. So as I was saying, you don't get spices, you don't get like the curries that we used to back in South Africa. You don't even have maize. Rice, let's say China, is more wet compared to the rice that we know. So you need to be familiar with the area. You need to have contact. At least abantu who are gonna sell basmati rice mostly from India or Pakistan. People who are gonna sell you maize. There's someone who sells maize, but I also don't like the maize because it's very different to what we used to in South Africa. So even when you travel lana, uzokhumbula uphuthu lakho if you don't make a plan, usasuka eSouth Africa. You're gonna also miss iBoerewors. There are some contacts that sell iBoerewors raw, iledivorce, and also some content that sell amachakalaka and so on. But the taste is not as perfect as back at home in South Africa. So you're gonna face a lot of challenges when it comes to finding the perfect food that you are used to. So these are just some of the challenges, guys. Besides the things we post, the money we have, we which is siyakwazi ukutravelisha to various countries, siyakwazi ukuya ko-Singapore, siye ko-Malaysia laphana ubona abantu be-check-in ko-Thailand, beko-Bangkok, Phuket and so on. So we do have the luxury and the finance to go around the world and explore the countries, but loyal financial freedom comes at the expense, and especially when it comes to mental health. Just be prepared, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Do follow me on Facebook. Do follow me on TikTok, Fanagam Shengu 2. Do follow me on YouTube, Fanagam Shengu, and also on Instagram as Fanagam Shengu. What else am I forgetting? Yeah, carry on subscribing, guys. The numbers are growing both on Facebook, not on Facebook, on TikTok. The numbers are growing very well, also on YouTube. So do carry on subscribing, supporting. We want to see the family grow and probably reach up over 5K at least by January this year. And obviously, I will be doing more videos, and also shout out to Matric. They're currently writing an exam, and yeah, I will be doing a lot of videos when it comes to matric stuff, university, first years, and so on. Danko.